All right, everybody, welcome. Hold on, I gotta turn this music off. Hey, what's up, everyone? Another edition of Late Night Base. I'm your host, Bill the Bull. Wednesday, May 6th. I hope you guys enjoyed your Cinco de Mayo doing whatever. Hopefully, you ate some tacos, some tequila. And you listened to my stream yesterday. We had a really good stream. We got Emily Lee Jr. on. Really good episode, and I'm really happy for his success. We do this every single day, man, Monday through Thursday. You come here for the latest on AI, apps, tech, and all things on chain. And we also dabble with peptides. Yes. Yes. I'm excited for that one. Today we have Crypto Daddy on. We have a couple guests, but the first one will be Crypto Daddy, and very fascinated with him because he's a crypto OG, but he's like a peptide king. He like knows everything there is about peptides. And I just recently started Retta because why not? And so far so good, man. I literally can't eat. Like if you saw my video yesterday, I just posted. I like literally even right now, like I just went to the gym. Great workout. I feel my energy is pretty good. I just can't eat like that. Like I have to force myself after the stream. I just got to put something in me because I don't want to look like a 110-pound Somalian. No offense to Somalians, but there are some very skinny ones. I don't want to be that way. So, anyways, looking for that. And also towards the end, the second guest we have on, I'm excited for this one too. We're gonna have the Cap app come on. And Cap Financial is typically I don't do projects outside of base, but I want to. I really, really want to. So I'm excited because that's how your boy branches out, bro. We're not just only about base anymore. That was last year. That's good. So if you're building somewhere on other chains, dude, I want to talk to you. I want to talk to you. And so they're basically a stablecoin protocol with credible financial guarantees built on Ethereum, accelerated by Mega ETH. So tune in for that one. Second half of the show, we have Ben. All right, so basically, first couple minutes, we just kind of go over the markets, what's going on. I mean, what's going on is just simply, obviously, I don't know. I think Zcash. I don't know. I don't know what the main topic of today is, honestly. My little AI virtual robot Teddy kind of gives me my briefings every morning. It was like boring stuff. He just basically told me. No, what did he tell me? Let's see, Teddy. What did you say? Yada yada. OpenAI launches social network 2026. Whatever. Gemini flagship. Actually, what I would talk about is Base's the news that Base laid off 14% of people yesterday. I think that was pretty important and still is because it's a trickle down effect. A lot of good people lost their jobs. 14% of the whole company they gone, and it just kind of shows the reality of the world that we're living in. The AI world is just reshaping everything that's structures, business structures, and it's just going to be a domino. Starts there, especially publicly traded companies. At the end of the day, the bottom line is profit loss margin, what's best for the shareholders, not necessarily what's best for the employees. So I believe companies are going to get more lean. I believe more jobs are going to be lost, unfortunately. And in the next 12, 18 months, man, things are just going to really change. I think what's going to really be important is, regardless if you're employed or you're not employed, building your brand as much as possible, I think, is the name of the game. That's what I'm doing here with my streams. I'm building my personal brand. I don't work for anyone, but I do think building a brand, coming on these shows, kind of puts you in the spotlight a little bit more. It just helps, and of course, learning AI is important to make yourself more valuable. So that was pretty much it. So we'll get Crypto Daddy on in a second. Oh, real quick though, we want to say this episode is brought to you by Swap Royale. They are the lead sponsor of the show for the month of May. So Swap Royale, I appreciate what they're doing. What they're doing is they're creating a fantasy trading contest, real-time prices, real prizes, compete, trade, and win from your phone. And download today. We'll have a link to their app later today. Plus, we'll play a 60-second promo. If you are interested, if anyone out there is listening who wants to be interested in sponsoring the show, we are selective on it. We are opening it up until the big dogs come. I see you, Brian Armstrong, Coinbase. One day, you guys might want to sponsor the show. But until then, if you guys want a lot more visibility for your project, hit me up. We've been averaging over 3,000 live viewers every episode for the last 2 weeks. I honestly don't think you'll find a bigger show on Base, personally. Not trying to toot my own horn, but I work hard for this, and I think the numbers speak for themselves. All right, so we have 453. Let's go get those numbers up. But yeah, without further ado, man, let's talk peptides. My friend Crypto Daddy, how are you doing today, bro?
What's going on, Bill? How you doing, bud?
Bro, I am good. I am good. I got some gray hairs. Some days they pop up more than others. I have twin toddler boys. They really accelerated my growth. Maybe there's a peptide for that. I don't know. But I'm good, man. I'm good. How about you, bro?
I'm good, brother. I'm good. Just actually finished up a pretty long little walk. Got my 10,000 steps in before 3 p.m. on my coast. So yeah,
Yo.
it's a good day on this end.
Awesome, man. Awesome. So, listen, I wanted to reach out to you because I find you very interesting. And this is the first time we're actually speaking. So, it's like really nice to, the last couple days, really nice to get to know you. You also are somebody who's in the crypto space. You're crypto native, AI robotics. You're also a father, crypto, but you also have some very interesting aspects as well. You vibe code, and you like peptides, and you've been really deep in peptides. So, talk to me kind of like the journey about peptides for you. Like, when did you first, I don't know, dive deep into this? When did you first like realize, like, oh man, this is something I want to learn more and try out?
So I've been researching peptides actually for the better part of over a year. I didn't even know what a peptide was until a buddy of mine is a professional supercross racer, rides dirt bikes, and had a really, really bad crash in Detroit and ended up snapping his femur and had another pretty gnarly, I forget what the break was, but snapped his femur and broke something else. And he sent me a video like just under 2 months after having the surgery. And the surgery was very quickly done after the break. And I've been around motocross my whole life, and I know people that have broken their femurs, and that's not an easy recovery. And he sends me a video within like under 2 months of him walking. Now, granted, he's not ready to go, run a marathon, but of him walking. And I'm like, brother, like, jokingly, I'm like, did you have some kind of scientific dude shoot you with what is it, like stem cells or something? And he's like, no, dude. He's like, my physician recommended me to take some peptides. And I'm like, fuck are those? And so he told me that he was into BPC 157 and TB 500, and that his recovery was going incredibly fast post operation. And so, I'm a dad. I'm older than he is. He's a younger kid. He just turned 21. I'm mid 30s. And so, and I got a kid. So I'm like, I can't just be going and injecting myself with random shit, And so I took some time to really look into all this and make sure, it wasn't SARMs, it wasn't anabolics, it wasn't, all these things. And it was about 6 months ago, I was having some problems just with mood swings, right? Like, obviously, actually, it was probably a little towards like October when the October 10th crash happened, and I was on vacation. And dude, I just never came out of that goal. Like, I've been through this market for, I got in this in 2019, so I'm used to this, right? But when that happened, I was up a significant amount of money. And, October 10th, the money just left like that. And it never came back. It just got worse. And man, I had a hard time getting out of my own head, getting out of my own way. My energy was low. And arguably, it was like a bout of depression. And I'm like, dude, this just can't happen. Like, this just cannot happen. And so about a month and a half, 2 months later, a very close friend of mine who is, he owns his own wellness practice. I was kind of talking to him and venting to him about what I had going on. And he's like, I think you should get some blood work done and see where your testosterone's at and see where some of your other markers are at. And let's look at getting you some like hormone therapy. And so that's really how all this started, was trying to get my hormones in balance. So get the blood work done. Blood work comes back. Test is on the lower side of normal, but it's still normal. All of my other markers are good. But again, man, I'm just having these massive swings of life. And so he recommended me to start with kisspeptin and enclomiphene. Now, to be clear, enclomiphene is not a peptide, but kisspeptin is. Kisspeptin is a hormone peptide. And so for, again, I want to let me forecast all of what I'm saying by, I'm not an expert by any means. I'm just a guy that is really into research And you won't find me ever guessing and throwing some shit out on a tweet that is not backed by a study that I've read, because we're in a day and age where it doesn't take but half a second for you to ask ChatGPT, Grok, if this guy's full of shit, and then my reputation just for being an honest dude's out the door. So that now that that's out of the way, I was like, you know what, let's give it a shot, because honestly, like, I just can't do like another couple months of just feeling like shit when I have a good life. You know, I have a healthy son. I've been my own boss since 2021, you know, and life is good. So anyway, my first week on Kisspeptin, so I eased into Kisspeptin and clomiphene, a little bit of methylene blue, which is more or less for, it's not like an immune booster, but it's like a,
you put it on your tongue. You put it on
under your tongue, your teeth turn blue.
It turns blue. I tried it one time and I didn't know it turned blue. My buddy was like, you should try it. I was like, all right, cool. We forgot to mention that part. I freaked out.
Yeah, same, dude. I was like, oh my God. But, you know, I started with those three, and then I eased into everything else. So essentially I had gotten the stack that I take now, which is, you know, not to throw too much out there, but the Kisspeptin was the hormone peptide. The enclomiphene more or less is like an estrogen blocker, and allows for, it doesn't enhance the production of testosterone, but it slows down the production of estrogen. And so those were my two main ones. And then I started shortly after that with tesamorelin, which is it's like a natural growth hormone pulse. It could be compared to like a human growth hormone, but it's really not in the same category. You know, it's the safety profile for me was a lot better than taking like just a natural growth hormone, because I'm in my mid-30s, so my body will naturally produce it. But I needed something that was going to signal to my brain, to signal to my body, hey, you've been slacking. It's time to pick up that slack. Let's do it. And so, yeah, man, long story short, I've got about 5 to 6 peptides that I took my first cycle. This cycle that I just started on Monday, I've added one more in there. So I'm on about 6 or 7 right now. And man, when I tell you, like, it's unbelievable, the difference. Sorry for jumping around, but like I was saying originally, when I started Kisspeptin my first week, I messaged my buddy. I'm like, brother, I don't know if this is like a placebo effect, because I know placebo is very real, but like, I feel really good, man. And he's like, perfect. Don't change your dose. Don't go higher. Don't go lower. Stay right where you are. It's not placebo. It's working. And brother, when I tell you, and I have no problem admitting this, I had some issues with girlfriends in the past where I'd be either upset about them doing something that really wasn't something that would be deemed like worthy of getting upset over. Dude, like this, within a week of taking the Kisspeptin, it was like anything that I would hear, not even from a girlfriend, right? Like getting bad news or getting news on something that you wouldn't care about, or having someone cancel plans on you last minute. It was like, whatever, I got other things I can do. And for me, that was the first time in a really long time that I've been able to kind of feel like that and react like that. And that was an immediate, like, this is working. And then so after that first week, I started introducing the other peptides and slowly introducing them at very low dosages. And I introduced them one at a time, so that I didn't want to start a stack of 6 peptides and something go wrong and then have to stop all of them to figure out what was wrong, right? So I introduced them at a very introductory doses, one at a time. And thankfully, I didn't have any side effects or any adverse effects or anything that kind of caught me off guard that I was like, I need to back off of this particular one. And I eventually graduated to the normal maintenance doses that I take now. And man, when I tell you, like, I'm not sitting here to show you that peptides are the greatest thing in the world. You got to have a good base. You got to have a diet. You got to be active, you know. But when I tell you, it has made my life seemingly better, in the sense of like for a long time, there was like this, I have a great life, but like, why am I not happy? Why am I not content? Why am I not this? Dude, I feel great. I mean, I feel normal. If this is what normal people feel like, I feel normal for the first time and as long as I can remember. So that's why I started the journey.
Dude, that's amazing. I think that's incredible to hear because, everyone's hardwired differently and it's, things that just come natural for some people. It doesn't come. Some chemical imbalances might cause you to feel a certain way. And it's the health effects from everything I've read. It seems like it's obviously affected you in a positive way, which more do you already have? DeFi guy just wrote peptides that healed 2 partial tears in my bicep 9 years ago. Right on. I think this is kind of the unlock that, and especially now with the advancements of AI, I think peptides and everything will just become more and more science to see how the body works. And I view it as, like, for instance, so I started Retta. And what Retta does curbs your appetite crazy and helps you shed fat. And I see some skeptics say, you should just have willpower, bro. You should just go to the gym, eat less calories, and there you go. Well, yes, understood. That is the name of the game. But what people don't realize is sometimes you're hardwired to not, even though that's what you need to do, you need help. Your brain is telling you something like, I've yo-yoed myself. Like when I'm in my lean phase, I low carb, by naturally going low carb keto, hunger dissipates just naturally through the process. But that's a very hard way to live. And so I have the tendency where it's like, damn, like if I'm not actually trying to diet, like my brain always tells me I'm hungry and like my cravings come and like shit's hard, man, even though I know. So it's not as easy as like, all right, bro, low calories in. Yes, maybe eventually. So, but Retta for me is like automatically has done something with my brain where it's just like, you don't need it. You do not need to eat. First of all, junk food does not even appeal to you. Sugar doesn't appeal to you. And that is now more motivating to me. Got to the gym today, had a great session. And that is how I believe peptides can help people get to the path that they're destined to go. Now, it doesn't mean you have to be on your whole life. So I find it very, very interesting. Let me ask you this, Crypto Daddy. For those that might not know, with peptides, not all of them are FDA approved. Some you have to get on the black market. Like, how do you talk to people like when they are maybe worried that, oh, I can't go to my local pharmacy and I have to get it through somewhere else?
Well, I mean, how I consider things is, for me, when I was looking at this, I've held it off for a long time. I had been researching them for a while and I was like, I'm just not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. I don't need, I can go to the gym. I can beat depression in the gym. I can lose weight in the gym. I can do all these things in the gym. But then once I think for a lot of people, peptides should be something that becomes an option for them when things aren't improving and they've tried other options. For me, in my hormone peptides and that side of things, it was, I'd been to therapy. I'd been to the gym. I could run 5 miles and some days it'd be good and some days it would still be the pits of the valley, and I'm like, I just need something that's going to make me feel fucking normal, and I had tried a topical TRT like long ago, and that really just wasn't for me. So I think that,
real quick, why wasn't it for you?
The TRT was when I got the topical and I had to rub it on my shoulders right here, on both shoulders. And after about the first week, between the first and the second week, I was working on my computer and I'd finished something up. And I went to go get a drink and I realized that these 3 fingers from about here onward were completely numb. And I'm like, that's a little strange. And so I didn't change anything in what I was doing. And I continued to use it for about another 2 or 3 days after. And the numbing started moving towards like the center of my hand where I had feeling in like my clicker of my mouse hand, but it was like, it freaked me out. I mean, it freaked me out. And I was like, if I have to do this, if I have to have this kind of result to do that, I think I'm just gonna hold off, right? And so I say it wasn't for me. I know TRT is the answer for a lot of people, especially a lot of men in their 30s, 40s, 50s. Testosterone production naturally just starts declining.
I'm actually on. So I'm older than you. I'm 41, and
Okay.
about 2 years ago, my testosterone, I got blood work, bro. When I'm telling you it was low, it was fucking low, like
Yeah.
lower than average, and like
Yeah.
that's a byproduct with age. So to me, it's like TRT is a must. I inject it twice a week, but that's through a doctor, so it's truly like normal. But like those are supplements as you age. And that's why I think peptides are going to be so big because as you age naturally, you're going to need more supplements or more assistance because your body just goes in different directions. You're not like a young 15, 18-year-old, right? So,
Correct.
yeah, I mean, I feel you on that one.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think people should try to do what they feel is going to be best for them. One thing something that kind of opened my mind up, and it was crazy to me that I had to be 35 years old to kind of hear this and be like, wow, that actually makes a lot of sense, which is, I forget the exact terminology of it, but um, it was like a patient cured is a patient lost, or a patient cured is a customer lost. And so you'll find that not all doctors, there are good doctors out there, but there are doctors that you'll find that their first answer to things is, well, let's put you on this pill, let's stick you on this, let's do that. And well, how does that really end up for you? Well, it makes you feel good enough until you wake up the next day and realize that you need that pill again to feel normal and average, right? And so, and I want to be very clear here. I always play devil's advocate as much as I can. The same argument could be had for peptides, right? But we're talking about something that is more of a natural pathway and more of a signals to your body to naturally do its thing, as opposed to something coming in and kind of catching it off guard and saying, well, I'm the boss now. This is how we're going to go to produce things, right? And so for me, I mean, you're at the age, you're about 6 years older than I am. So you're at the age where you can remember where all of this, let me preface this by saying all of this is science, right? Like, we didn't know what the effects of Oxycontin were on people until people were lab rats for it. And then opioid death started becoming so insane that it had to, really start getting scheduled down, and people started, obviously we're talking about apples to peppers, right, at this point, but we're talking about science. We're talking about medical science here. And so to me, my view on things is are peptides natural? Yes and no. But are they more natural than taking a pill like Adderall for focus? Fuck yeah. Are they more natural than taking, a trazodone to stay asleep through the night? Yeah, with DSIP, I definitely would think so. Is it? And you could do this example over and over and over again. But for me, it's, hey, I get it. If you want to wait until peptides are FDA approved, wait, right? But if you have like the person that commented, DeFi God or DeFi whoever that was, said that they had a bicep tear that's been nagging them for years. That's one of the most common things I see on my posts when I say, I use BPC for a maintenance injection because I go hard as hell in the gym and I'm super sore and I can barely walk the next day. So my maintenance dose of BPC allows inflammation to come down and I can continue to work out pretty aggressively. Whereas I'll get someone that comments and they're like, man, I had a labrum tear from 4 years ago and I took BPC for 3 months and I feel like a kid again, right? Or I had a destroyed ACL or MCL or whatever, insert long prolonged injury, and they got on BPC, TB 500, whatever for a cycle, a handful of weeks or months, and they're as good as new almost, right? And so it's hard to say it doesn't work, but I definitely understand people's hesitancy on where maybe the long-term effects of things like this come in. And again, my argument to that would be very simple is if you believe that you've had enough of a particular injury or a particular way of life or whatever your scenario is, then maybe this is a route that you should potentially go down. Otherwise, I wouldn't suggest taking, if you're a healthy 18, 20-year-old, 25-year-old person, their test is good, all these things are good. Would I even point you in the direction of injecting yourself with research compounds? Probably not. But if you're in your 30s and your testosterone's diving and you wake up in the morning and the first thing you do is a cup of water spills over and it's ruined your whole freaking day, then yeah, I think maybe if therapy is not working and, if going to the gym's not working, I think that you should consider some other options.
Love it. Love it. Quickly pointing out, I noticed you built Peptides. Talk to us. What is it?
Yeah, so Peptides is just a research hub, essentially. So when I started building this about 2 months ago, there were maybe like 2 or 3 sites that were doing this. And now this is the interesting part with vibe coding, and I'm all for it. It's really cool. It makes it incredibly competitive. And now in the last month alone, there have been probably about 20 to 30 different sites that compete with mine. And so what it does is it allows you to choose like any of the categories that you see there. It could be body recomposition. It could be fat burning, this, that, and the other.
Let's click clinical clarity.
Yep. If you click on that, it'll go into the stack that is recommended through either clinical trials or FDA approved peptides or whatever the case may be. It'll give you a lot more of a breakdown on those. So I can't remember because I've done so many updates to this site in the last week alone. But you should be able to click on the Cmax or Selenk, and you can go further into what that particular peptide is. And so it'll tell you from the scientific breakdown of it, the molecular breakdown of it, to case studies, key studies, research, clinical trials, to what, and then it extracts from those clinical trials what the average like dosing is, the average cycle time, and then at the very bottom it'll give you sourcing options. So that's what I've been working on right now is really trying to find solid sources, vendors that, I wouldn't say I'm sitting here like trying to find the most rigorous, vendors, but I very much so, if I'm going to take something, which one of the most common, I don't want to say misconceptions, but one of the biggest things is that every peptide comes from China. And Bill, that's just not fucking true. Sorry for my language. It's just not true. Is it fair to say that most peptides come from China? Absolutely. That's a very fair way, especially since this is the wild, wild west right now. And, you've got teenagers ordering it from bulk and, people ordering it from bulk from China and turning around and marking it up 3, 4, 5x. But the vendors that I use, what I try to do is I try to find, vendors that have the certificate of analysis that, hey, they've gone through, they've done the work, they've done, they've done the purity test, they've done the sterility test, they've done the metals test, the toxins test, all these things. And these tests aren't cheap, brother. I mean, for an average tox screening, sterility screening, and purity screening from Janoship, which they're at the Czech Republic, they're what would be considered the gold standard amongst the community. It's about $800 to get that testing done on one vial. And so, you can cheap out. There's nothing wrong with going to China and getting your stuff. If that's what you want to do, it's a free country, you got free markets. You're able to do what the hell you want to do. But if you're going to go that route and spend the least amount of money up front, please, 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 there are labs locally to you, unless you live in BFE. There are labs usually within about 50 to 100 miles of you that'll do these tests between about $400 and $800. So make sure you know what you're putting in your body, because we're already kind of playing around with research chemicals. And so again, this isn't to tell you, hey, go get shit from these places and shoot them up, right? You need to understand that these are for research purposes only and in vitro purposes only. So, if you do decide it, you got to take the self-responsibility and knowing what you're taking.
Absolutely. Crypto Dad, we got 1 minute left. Here's my rapid fire questions to you. What are the top 3 peptides for a beginner in your opinion? So what would be 3 that you think are must-haves for someone just getting into this field?
BPC 157, absolutely, for injuries and recovery. If weight loss is a goal of yours, retatrutide is a very hard peptide to beat on that end. I would say that if you do decide to go that route, start low, start really low.
Yeah.
I start at 0.25, 0.5.
Bro, I started at 2. I didn't realize.
I know you scared me when I heard that.
I was like, oh shit, no wonder I have no hunger.
And then the last one would probably be either tesamorelin or MOTS-C. So tesamorelin is more of a, again, it's a growth hormone pulse that naturally signals your body to release growth hormone. And then MOTS-C is the easiest way I can describe that is it is like not unlimited energy, but damn close, very close. Really? It is very, very incredible.
And it's all is that one also clinical, like not FDA approved? Is it still by the same people as Retta? Or no?
That's a good. It's not through Eli Lilly is sticking with GLPs. So mainly the weight loss stuff. I want to say tesamorelin is FDA approved. It's FDA approved actually for HIV patients, HIV patients that have a difficult time losing visceral fat. So essentially tesamorelin turns your body into a furnace, man, just a fat burning furnace. But MOTS-C, to be honest with you, I won't tell you bullshit.
For sure.
I don't know if it's FDA approved or not, but you can type that in.
Well, your website, go to Peptide Dex.
It should tell you on there.
Well, listen, brother, I appreciate you. We had 2,988 people tuning in for your episode. What we're going to do is once this episode's done, we're going to have a couple clips made. We'll send it out to you and your community. Also, we'll clip your portion into a podcast, put it on Spotify, help it distribute it on Spotify, YouTube, so more people can know about you and more people can know about peptides in general. My man, appreciate you, bro.
Hey, thanks, Bill.
Have a good one. All right, that was Live with Crypto Daddy. Hopefully you guys learned a thing or two about peptides. That was fire. Like I said, I just got into this whole world. I'm very fascinated by it. So I'm going to be going on his site. Really impressive site. Man, you could literally just have a wealth of knowledge there. So I will definitely be checking it out. We're going to have Ben from Cap on in 1 minute. Just before that, though, we got to play a clip from our sponsor for the month, Swap Royale. Let's just get this in. An clip from our sponsor. No, that's not a clip. Whoop, my bad. Sorry, Swap Royale. That was not. No, it was not. Don't fire me, bro. Actually, you already paid me, so it's all good. It's all good. Let's see. I think it's this one.
Or better. Prove it. Daily trading contest. Choose your way. Same start, just skill. Be first. This is the real path to win. Every contest, guaranteed. Real money, not chips. Invite friends and earn rewards.
All right, and if you guys want to download the app, there's a QR code on the top left-hand corner. It'll take you to the Swap Royale app. It's on your local device, so check them out, and you get $10 free to play. All right, so next, without further ado, though, looking forward to this one. We are going to bring on Ben. Let me remove that. All right, Ben, Jimin from
hello.
App. How you doing, man?
Good, and you?
Dude, I couldn't be better. It's nice to meet you. We actually have never met before, but we're brought together. So talk to me, man, because I've been learning a little bit about you. You guys are a stablecoin protocol with credible financial guarantees built on Ethereum, accelerated by Mega ETH. So a lot of people might not be familiar with Cap app. So why don't you just kind of give us the TLDR? Exactly what is Cap app?
Yeah, there's definitely a lot to get into, but I think we can slowly get into it. High level, we're a credit platform, and we exist to give yield to people on the dollar that want to get yield from credit, from loans. And the exciting bit for Cap is that unlike traditional credit platforms like Apollo, like Ares Capital, like traditional credit platforms, we don't actually make any decisions about who gets to borrow. Instead, we rely on code to allocate capital to institutional borrowers. So we're giving people yield from these loans, and we're allocating it with code. That's a high level of kind of what we're doing.
So talk to me then about the idea of bringing this on chain. At what point? Because when it comes to DeFi lending protocols, you think of Celsius, you think of stuff in the past that have happened that have literally gone completely south back in 2021. So at what point did you decide, we need to make Cap app? And I guess how do you do things to prevent a Celsius to never occur?
You're showing yourself as a true crypto OG. You're hitting the examples I think I would like to talk about. We have had people try to do direct lending in the past, but there are two places where they really messed up. One of them is who they're lending to. They're usually lending to crypto market makers, crypto teams, etc. The folks that we're lending to have never used the blockchain before, have never borrowed from the blockchain before. We're lending to counterparties like Franklin Templeton, like Susquehanna, like Flow Traders. These are the world's largest financial institutions. So they haven't borrowed before, and they're borrowing now because of us. But the other part, which is more a fundamental problem with a lot of these direct lending platforms, is the principal agent problem. The folks that are making decisions over who gets to borrow are not the people that lose money if those decisions are bad. So if I'm lending your money away, I might take more risks than if I'm lending my money away. But the way we work at Cap, we essentially outsource the decision making to a mesh of underwriters. So it's a network of many underwriters that can come to our platform and sort of lend out the capital on our platform on our behalf. But in order to do that, they need to put down collateral to vouch for their decisions. This collateral is usually in Bitcoin, in gold, in stocks, in basically assets that are not very productive. And if they make a mistake, we take their assets. And so that's a way that, one, we protect our users, because if somebody makes a mistake, we can make them whole. But two, we sort of fix the misaligned incentives, because now you're not going to make a bad decision if you're making a decision that could cost you your capital.
Interesting, very interesting. So you obviously know what you're talking about. Have you always had, I guess, like lending background, experience in banking? Like, how did you get into like this sector of crypto?
So I've been in sort of finance all my career. I started my career in M&A in New York here at Citibank. So I have plenty of experience with credit and with these types of transactions. And then in stable coins, I've been in stable coins since 2021. Before this, I was at Cheetah, which was the first cross-chain stablecoin. So I've been in sort of the credit and stablecoin space for quite some time. So I've gotten to see all the pitfalls of previous designs.
Interesting. So then you probably are knowledgeable about the Clarity Act. Be very curious to know. We have about 3,000 people on this stream, and I think a lot of people don't really understand the significance of the Clarity Act, what it means for the blockchain industry, crypto. Do you have any insight on that? What do you think the Clarity Act is going to be for this industry?
Well, any piece of legislation that has to do specifically with DeFi and crypto assets is very good for all of us, because the more clarity we have, the more comfortable we'll get large capital allocators, think pension funds, right, to want to come in and use crypto. A big issue that we have in crypto markets is that most of DeFi is just Justin Sun and Sky Protocol, right? Really, they're most of the TVL in crypto, and that's very bad for all of us, because it makes markets less effective and it limits our growth. And so now that we have Clarity Act, I think we might be able to get more capital in. Now, specifically this legislation, how does it affect us? Well, it doesn't really affect DeFi, because what it addresses is stablecoin issuers like Tether and Circle, and their ability to share yield with their users. And he basically says you cannot just be a narrow bank and share a passive yield with your users. However, it does not legislate at all complex financial activity that you might see in DeFi. So we continue to remain unregulated, but at least we're getting something else under our belt, right, in terms of clarity.
Very interesting. Very, very, very interesting. I think you hit the spot on, and I know Brian Armstrong and the team at Coinbase are trying to champion the legislation to get that act, and I do think the unlock of more institutional capital, such as pension funds, coming in is obviously a massive value add because that's just a greater amount of liquidity. I want to take a look at your actual site, cap.app, and I just recently very, very pleased. I'm very impressed. Your main Twitter said your TVL is now 400 million. How does that feel for you personally? That's an amazing number.
It feels great. Obviously, it should be much higher. We've gone through a couple cycles, right? Since we launched in August, we've seen two major crashes. We had 1010, and then we had the major crash at the beginning of the year. So two, horrible market conditions to be in, which obviously had an effect on our TVL. But we've been able to come back every time, and so yeah, we're now at 400 mil of TVL. Importantly, over 95% of that TVL is unincentivized. So it's not some temporary farming games. It's not some points program. It's real institutions using your platform because it benefits them to use your platform. And I think that shows how we're trying to do things differently from what you might have seen previously in DeFi.
Are you you guys are ETH based, right? Or is it Mega ETH? Like I'm actually, like I said, I'm loving the fact that you're not on Base because I initially started the show just Base only, and I'm expanding my brand to other chains and outside of crypto as well. So talk to me about, because I don't really know much about Mega ETH. What exactly is Mega ETH?
Yeah, so we're based on Ethereum.
Yeah.
We want to be on the blockchain that's the safest, has the lowest security assumptions, and I think the only smart contract platform that can give you that is Ethereum.
Sure.
But we do have some sort of connection with Mega ETH because we're part of the Mega Mafia, which is this group of applications that they're making. And so CAP specifically is the dollar yield product that they want to king make. And yeah, so what is Mega ETH? Mega ETH is this fast L2. Imagine Monad, but L2 version, right? So they focus on performance over decentralization. Not that dissimilar from Base, because I think Base has had a huge push on performance, but I think Mega ETH takes centralization to another end. Like they really want to be centralized but super performant, whereas I feel like Base is trying to do some sort of like a mix.
Well, listen, this is a proud moment. This is the first ever episode I've had a project from Mega ETH. And let's go, expanding the brand, build a bull. Let's go. I want it all. Give it to me all. All right. By the way, I'm gonna follow you on Twitter. I didn't realize. First of all, I didn't even realize. When Keely sent me the list, we had no socials, but I liked the brief synopsis of what you had. So I'm actually even more impressed to have you on because I've seen your socials and very nice. All right, so let's talk about the website. What can we do if you've announced a new incentives program? Let's see, you guys are backed. Are these all the companies you're backed by? Probably.
Yes. So our main investor is Franklin Templeton and Susquehanna, but then we have a couple other institutional investors.
Very, very cool. So what is CAP basically? And guys, if you're on Spotify, we always put these episodes, the individual episodes of our guests on Spotify for further distribution. And on that one, you can't see what we're sharing. So head over to YouTube. YouTube will have the episode as well. So basically, say I'm somebody who's interested in your platform. How do I get started? Where would I go? What do I do? Walk me like I'm a 10-year-old degen in the trenches, but with money.
Perfect. Well, what we can give to a retail user is yield under dollars, right? And the thing you need to do is first you have to open CAP, right? Go to the cap.app/swap. And that is essentially the platform where our users can come and deposit dollars in order to generate yield. Now, obviously, there's no CBDC, right? So dollars can mean a lot of things on chain. For us, we currently allow USDC, or they have Wisdom Tree deposits. So if you have deposits at Wisdom Tree, or if you have USDC, you can put your dollars into Cap. And the interface looks a lot like a swap. You choose the asset that you're depositing. So you see this USDC, you put how much you want to deposit, and then you get your CUSDs. And that's how you can earn yield with Cap.
So when I get the CUSD, am I able to then utilize that somewhere else, or is it just like locked in this thing? Like sometimes in DeFi protocols, you can take like, say you have, say you're providing liquidity, and the liquidity token you could do for something else, or is it just like everything? Once you deposit, you're in CUSDC, and then you don't have to touch anything.
So once you're in CUSD, you can stake it to earn yield. So the staked version earns yield. CUSD itself is sort of the pegged version. Think about USDE and SUSDE is similar, or SUSDAI or USDAI is similar like this. It's the 2-token model. We're everywhere. So you can go to Morpho and get a loan against your deposit. You can lever. You can get a Pendle if you want. You can go to Euler. Most major applications have integrated us. So yeah, you can use this in all those platforms.
What are some of the rates that we're looking at? So say I'm a retail, I'm interested in depositing USDC, but I have no idea kind of like what you're offering. What are some of the rates that they could potentially see?
So right now, today, our 7-day average is 5.4%. So if you deposit dollars in Cap today, you're getting 5.4%. This is by far, the best in our peer group. If you compare it to Maple, Athena, Aave, Morpho, it's pretty good. And especially good when you consider that it's insured. So the whole reason that you might want to use Cap over other yield protocols is that we have principal protection. Every institution that's making yield on our dollars is insured by an underwriter that's vouching for their credit. And so if they lose money in their strategies, we have that insurance we can liquidate to make our users whole. And so it's 5.4% and it has principal protection, which is not the case with, like I said, with our peer group.
Wow. So basically it helps people sleep at night.
Exactly. Yeah. Because we want these institutions, these are very big institutions like Susquehanna. We want them to make yield for us. But we're crypto people and we don't trust anybody. So we have to make sure that we have some principal protection just in case these institutions lose money.
No, I think that's a breath of fresh air, because I think a lot of people are scarred from, even recently, forget about Terra Luna back in 2021. I think recently there's been a couple exploits here and there, which are not small exploits. And then you have things like Aave, and you have just like a lot of things going on. It's just kind of putting DeFi in a bad name. And once you lose trust, it's hard to gain back, So it's nice that you providing that protection. So let's talk to me about Caps, and we'll wrap things up. What's next on the roadmap for you? So now that the market's looking a little bit better, you guys launched last year, right? 2025?
Yeah, we launched last year.
Okay, so let's put some thinking caps on. I like to ask my guests these things. I want to have you look into the future. 1 year from now, May 6th, 2027, what are some of the milestones that you would like Cap to hit?
So the biggest thing about Cap is that, we're getting yield from the productive economy, from institutions that have never used the blockchain before. That's really the value that we're bringing here, that and the principal protection. So a year from now, I want more institutions to be borrowing from us. I want more institutions to be engaged in our protocol to generate yield for our users. We already have a lot of them, right? Like Susquehanna I mentioned. A year from now, I want a greater variety, right? We want trade finance, we want inventory financing, we want HFT firms, asset managers, different types of businesses borrowing from Cap. Because in order for us to generate yield in any market condition, we need to have different types of borrowers. And that takes time. Because like I said, these guys do not borrow from the blockchain today at all. And so the legal, the compliance, everything, it takes some time. And so, yeah, in a year from now, I think we'll be there.
Interesting. And, we have over 3,000 people. Thank you, each and every one of you. We're keeping our streak going. We've actually been on a roll lately, over 3,000 in the last couple of weeks, which is, I take that very, very proudly, because that's not easy in this environment. So thank you all for tuning in. So yeah, my friend, any last words that you have for the audience about Cap? What would you like them, if they want to get started? What do you recommend? Just going to the DEX?
Yeah, I think if you want to learn more about Cap, go to cap.app and you'll find everything you need to know about our platform. Obviously, do your own research, of course. It's important to be educated about what you're using in crypto, but it is important to explore. So check us out.
Absolutely, Ben. I just followed you, so give me a follow as well. Then once this episode's done, I will. Our team will have a couple clips made. We'll send it to you, get the word out there, and I'll let you know when the podcast is up. Because I think more and more people, and especially retail people outside of crypto, need to know what is Cap. So, man, thank you for coming on. Glad we met.
Thank you. Appreciate the time.
All right, my friend Benjamin from Cap. Everyone, first ever Mega ETH project. Let's go. Bill is expanding. We are expanding outside of little Base. Base is great. Don't get me wrong. I will gladly take Coinbase's money, but we are more than just Base. We are everywhere. That includes non-Base projects. All right, everyone. Appreciate each and every one of you. We're done. I think we're done for the day. We'll end it a little early. Back at it tomorrow. Bright and early, rain or shine. So if you guys want to hear me, as you should, actually tomorrow we got 3 different guests. So we have a jam-packed episode tomorrow. And Fridays I take off because fuck that. We need some time to ourselves. So anyways, guys, appreciate each and every one of you. Peace.